I'm cool with
Because
that.
nobody else
Bank
knows
or
about
send
it.
it to your house.
What I'm doing.
No,
yeah.
it's coming.
Is it?
It's coming. Because that, I changed that one. I mean, I told her.
Good to see you.
Yeah. I was at home tutoring our math, you know. We have town split. And fourth sidewalk.
I need some off.
It's posted up right over there. Anybody has any questions about it? We will start with our budget hearing, and starting time is 5:30 p.m. at Fillmore Central High School, September 14, 2011. This public hearing for the 2011-2012 Fillmore Central School District budget was legally advertised in the Nebraska Signal. The purpose of this hearing is to hear, support, opposition, criticism, suggestions, or observations relating to the 2011-2012 proposed budget, and to consider amendments relative thereto. This hearing is now open, and we will begin with some information from Superintendent Mr. Norvell. A is the Superintendent's budget report.
Yeah, I think everyone should have a copy there of a report that I laid out just today, and then the budget, the actual budget, I believe I sent in your packet for guests. There's one on the table back there also, a budget report and a copy of the main budget. I'll go through a few items and then answer any questions I can. On our budget report, basically our general fund budget of expenditures a year ago was $7,410,000 with $1.84 million in cash reserve. We amended our budget in June to be $1 million larger and our cash reserve $1 million smaller, and the purpose was to protect our spending authority for the next 2 years because of the legislature limitations they were putting on. Our total levy a year ago was just a little over $1.65. It was a 95-cent general fund levy and a building fund levy of 4 cents and a qualified capital purpose levy of 2.65 cents. The levy I am proposing and the budget I'm proposing for this year would be a $8,070,000 budget. That includes in that $8,070,000, $500,000 that I consider at least part of our cash reserve that we would not spend. And we would have $1.4 million listed as cash reserve. So in reality, we'd have $1.9 million in cash reserve. So that budget of expenditures, although it shows it to be $8,070,000, in my mind it's $7,570,000. So we'll do basically what we did when we amended our budget this summer, except again, I think $500,000 is more than plenty to do what we needed to do. The total proposed levy then would be, our general fund levy would be 87 cents, which is down 8 cents from this year. The proposed building fund levy is 4 cents, that's just keeping it where it's been. The QCAP levy would drop from 2.65 cents to 2.2. So that levy then would be a total of 93.2 cents. The main purpose for dropping our levy was that our valuations went up almost 13%. And you know, our cash reserves are healthy. We underspent our budget already, so I just think it's what we need to do. However, I'll certainly do whatever the board thinks is necessary with our budget. We could be, legally, we could be as high as $1.72. Your maximum is $1.05, but you're allowed to put your QCAP above your $1.05, so that would be 2.2 cents higher. So we're about 14 cents, not about. If you would accept this levy total, we would be 14 cents under our cap. And then I give a description basically of what the general fund pays for, what the building fund pays for, and what the QCAP fund pays for. A couple expenditures that I think we should consider for this year, what I consider to be major expenditures, is a new phone system intercom at the middle school. But I build that into the budget because we did that this year at the high school. But they're outdated and they really need to be done, and it's part of our safety plan to be able, for every room to be able to access the office and the office to be able to access every room, and we can't do that at this time. And then, you know, we purchased a 14-passenger minibus this year for our TIKE program out of stimulus dollars. And we actually have 2 TIKE routes, so we still use a Suburban or a van for one. And you know, I would propose that we add one more minibus for our TIKE program and maybe pay for a 50-50, 50 out of IDA Part B money, which is special ed below age 5 money, and then 50% out of regular transportation that would allow us to use it for activity trips such as golf and cross-country and things like that. So that's really the only 2 major things out of general fund that I would like the board to consider for this year. And there's plenty of money within our budget to do both those things. So I'd be open for any questions or discussion.
Somebody asked me, is there a minimum or maximum that we should be carrying for, we got 1.4 million cash reserve? Is there can we go up to a certain maximum, or can't be over a certain, or we're supposed to stay at a certain level? Or?
There is a maximum amount. If you add your cash reserve plus your depreciation fund, that can't be over a certain maximum. I don't know if I brought the sheet with me, but they figure it for you every year what you can be at, and I think our maximum would be like 2.6 million, so we're under our maximum yet. Okay. It's like 35% of your total budget you can be as a cash reserve. So I think it's around 2.6 million, but I can find out exactly for you. With our levy, if you're not, we don't get any state aid, but we get $66,000 in state aid that's called allocated income tax, and you have to be at 95 cents to be eligible to get that $66,000. Well, if we're at 87 cents, we're not going to get the $66,000, but to me it's not worth worrying about. 1 penny on our levy is $61,000, so if we think losing $66,000 will kill us, then we could raise it to 88 cents, but I think we got, you know what I'm saying, it's worth a penny, so it's not worth being at 95 cents to say, to get that $66,000 in state aid is really not worth it. So.
The 95 cents, that's the total?
No, that would just be, that'd be general and building fund added together. So, you know, we're at like 91 cents with that. So.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, I will close this hearing then at 5:37 p.m. And we'll go on to the next, the tax request hearing at Fillmore Central High School on September 14, 2011. Starting time is 5:37 p.m. This is a public hearing for the 2011-2012 Fillmore Central School District tax request. Was legally advertised in the Nebraska Signal. The purpose of this hearing is to hear support, opposition, criticism, suggestion, or observations relating to the 2011-2012 property tax request for the general fund, special building fund, and the qualified capital purpose fund. This hearing is now open, and we will begin with some information from Superintendent Mr. Norvell. Start off again.
I think probably the easiest way to look at the tax asking, at least for me, is like on the budget document I sent home would be the last page, which is the notice of a special hearing, the final tax request. That's probably the easiest way for me to look at it. In the last 2 columns there would hold our levy and the proposed tax request. And in the general fund tax request, last year it was $5,114,114, and our tax request this year $5,289,207. All I did really was to try to recoup the amount we were going to lose in state aid. Our final last state aid payment this year was $212 20-some thousand, I think, and so minus the 66 with the allocated income tax, I tried to just recoup what we were gonna lose in state aid to try to balance out our revenues. So that's, and the reason, a lot of times you'd have to recoup maybe a little bit more, but since we're finishing under budget every year anyway, I'm not too worried about our other revenues. They've been pretty steady. The middle two columns there, or the second and third columns, show last year's tax rate, and then they show the tax rate, what it would be if you divided by our new valuation. So, you know, if we'd have had our current valuation a year ago, instead of a 95-cent levy, it would have been 84 cents. So we're proposing 87 cents, which would recoup that about $75,000 difference between last year's tax request and this one. With our special building fund, I just left it at 4 cents. So instead of getting $215,000 in property tax money, it gets $243. If you wanted to get just $215 again, it's about exactly 3.5 cents instead of 4. And certainly that's an option too. Then our QCAP fund, we're requesting less taxes. We build up a cash reserve, and all you can do is you can only levy for your bond payments plus I think 1% over for cash reserve. Well, we've accessed the 1% over about 4 years in a row, and we have plenty of cash reserve. So I think our bond payment is $132,500 or something. So you know, that's the tax request matches that. It's right in that neighborhood. Don't quote me, but it's somewhere along that line there. So our tax requests are stated there, and that's how you form the levy, by dividing your tax request by your valuation. So will I have anything else to say on it? But certainly answer whatever questions there were.
Questions at this time from the board? The general public? Okay. If there's no questions, then I'll go ahead and close this hearing at 5:41 p.m. Which now takes us into our regular school board meeting. Call this meeting to order and welcoming the visitors. If the visitors have been able to sign in the back if they were here, that'd be great. Time right now is 5:42. And we talked about the recognizing the open meeting law and location of the poster. So we'll start with our roll call.
Donovan.
Here.
Jacobson. Kleinschmidt.
Yes.
Lightline.
Yes.
Nunn.
Yes.
Oshner, yes. Showcroft.
Yes.
Fillmore. Yes. Malloy.
Here. Okay. We declare this a legal meeting. Need a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second.
Lewis motion.
Motion by Mark Lightline. Then move that this regular meeting of September 14th, 2011 be declared a legal meeting. Questions? Roll call.
Lightline.
Yes.
Kleinschmidt. Jacobson. Nunn.
Yes.
Oshner, yes. Showcroft.
Yes.
Fillmore. Yes. Donovan.
Yes.
Malloy.
Yes. We have nobody absent tonight. We will start into our public comment. If there is any comments at this time from the public. Okay. If not, then we'll go on to number 6, reports from our administrators. We'll start with Mr. Rose.
I'll just highlight a couple of things that I put out. One thing that we've tried to do over the course of the last several years is offer opportunities for kids to take college classes. And we've had a real good relationship with Peru State. We've been able to add to that. The sociology class that Mrs. Malone teaches was approved this year. So now we have advanced composition, calculus, English 4, and sociology. Nice thing for the kids, they do not have to purchase our textbook. They use our textbooks. They do not have to pay room and board. They live at home, and the only thing that they have to pay for is a tuition fee, and it's pretty reasonable. And we have several kids taking advantage of that. We do have 3 kids that are coming from Shickley to take our calculus class. So it's been a nice arrangement with Bruce State. A lot of activities going on, not only this week, but next week. Homecoming will be next week. We'll be dismissing school on Friday. Have a parade that will start at 2:45 in our the south parking lot. Pep rally downtown. Homecoming game at 7 that evening, followed by our homecoming dance. I know that we're gonna talk a little bit about Nisa's reading scores and math scores, so unless you have other questions, I'll stop with that.
How was the half-day in-service for the teachers? It kind of goes out for all of you guys, but were teachers like having that?
I think it was very good.
Yeah, I should be asking you guys. Yeah, good.
I think it's building, I think the things that we have in place will build and will provide a very valuable tool for our teachers.
Good.
Yes?
The Peru State, the college classes, has that changed any? I know that when Christian went to UNL, they wouldn't accept those credits to transfer.
My understanding is, Sherry, they have, kids have not had problems transferring those classes. Whether it's something they've done differently, but supposedly any state college is supposed to be able to go and be transferred.
Well, that was our understanding when he did that.
Yeah.
When he went to university, they wouldn't allow those to
Yeah.
transfer. Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
yes.
Kelsey's did it Wesley. She's from Bowers.
Yeah, see, they wouldn't, they said unless it was at Peru specifically,
Yeah.
we had problems.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Klein?
I don't know if there's too much to add to the written report. By about this time, we're about a month into the school year. We get past Labor Day, things tend to pick up and be running at full speed. I would say this being the 6th year that I've been in with the middle school here, it's probably the best start to the school year we've had yet. So credit for that goes squarely on the shoulders of our staff and our students. They worked very hard in preparation for the school year, and things went very well. And I think you have to start well to do well, and we've done that. So I just felt like it was important to pass that information along. Congratulations to our staff and our students. It's been a very positive start to the school year. Couldn't have asked for a better one so far. So felt like that needed to be shared. And just shared some information also in terms of, you asked a little bit about professional development, staff development, some of the areas that we're working on within our own building. Provided some information there, shared some information about our continued emphasis on appropriately integrating technology into the learning environment, and did also include an agenda from Wednesday's staff development time. And as we go through the calendar and we have staff development or professional development, whether it be on the Wednesdays where we've added to the calendar or the other days that may already be in there, if you have questions, feel free to ask. It is a big commitment for us to make in terms of time and taking time out of the calendar. And so if you ever have any questions about how that time's being used, we encourage you to ask any of us about anything you might want to know. In addition to that, fall activities are well underway. I think those are important things for our students to be involved in. The fall season always goes by very, very quickly because the middle school students have a shortened activity calendar in the fall. If you are interested in going to any of those activities, the last home volleyball game is tomorrow up at the middle school, and then the one home meet that our students run in for cross country is also tomorrow out at the golf course. So, I didn't know if you had any other questions.
Thank you, Ms. Klein. Ms. Raven?
I would agree with the smooth start. The teachers spent a lot of time preparing, and the kids came back ready to learn, and now we're at the point of those daily routines moving smoothly and efficiently in the building. So we're off to a good start. The committees, the parent committee and the staff committees have all had their first meetings and setting the timeline for the year. Our next events, we had the fun run today. The next fun run is in October. If anyone would like to come participate in that, you're welcome to. Although the weather was a bit cooler, it did not stop the kids from devouring the popsicles at the end. It's a hit. On Homecoming Friday is Grandparents' Day, and so grandparents will come in the afternoon and participate in activities with the kids, and then hopefully be able to, since we have a 2:10 dismissal, go watch the parade and extend that family time. But you're also welcome to be a surrogate grandparent if you're not already a grandparent. At times we have kids who have a special guest that's unable to make it, and so we fill in those spots. So you would all be welcome to come serve in one of those roles and do an activity at any grade level. So those are our highlights of events, and we're off to a smooth start. So, any questions?
Questions, folks? Thank you, Ms. Rayburn. Mr. Norvell?
The Architect Committee, which is Sherry, Jana, Dennis, and I, and Mr. Klein's going to sit in also. We're meeting with 4 architect groups tonight after the regular board meeting, one each from 7 to 9 every half hour. So we'll probably have a recommendation for you next month, hopefully, and we're looking forward to that. I think I put our current enrollment figures in your packet. I think we're about 5 students more than a year ago right now. Our official enrollment is reported after the 30th of September, so we take our Power School enrollment on the 30th, and then we report it to the state, and that's what they use all year long, because everybody's, enrollment changes off and on, so officially they use your enrollment on the 30th of September for state aid and things like that, which again, it's not that big a deal. So about the same number as a year ago, a little bit more. We did have this week one of our buses, the morning route, picked up children out at Marty Pepper's, and it clipped a car. The back end of our bus clipped a car, so we reported it right away. The bus driver got out and went into the house and told him right away, and then finished our route, and then we did call the insurance agent. There's no damage to the bus at all, but to the car, of course, there is some, and we'll take care of that with our insurance. But nobody was injured or anything. It was a minor thing. So, but I wanted to let you know about it in case you did hear about it. Jim and Jana and I attended the NASB membership meeting in York a week ago. And I did enclose some material that was distributed during that meeting that we did do some sessions on. And I didn't know, Jim or Jana, did either one of you want to share anything at this time?
Well, one thing I will say, I've been to the one in Omaha, and I've been to the one out at Kearney. I can't believe I've been missing this one in York. It was perfect. I mean, they were short sessions, but I got more out of those 2 sessions than I have out of those 2 days in those places. It was wonderful. I did bring, they talked a lot about getting this mentoring book for new board members, and I really think we could use something like this. When you become a new board member, you just kind of feel like a fish out of water. So it's a great hands-on book to kind of walk you through it, and then they talk about getting like a mentor, someone who's maybe been on for a while, and they kind of team up with the new person. So I thought it was very beneficial.
Jim, anything? She said it all.
She did. I was actually going to put my stuff in, but I forgot it.
And Sean, that's all I have. Any questions from the board?
Any questions from the board? Well, let's get moving on to our action items, number 7. First, we'll start off with A, with minutes Need a motion that the board approve the minutes of the August 15th, 2011 regular school board of education meeting. Jim? Second by Janet. That the board approve the minutes of August 15th, 2011 regular board of education meeting. And any questions?
I would like to strike one sentence that I thought was not necessary. It was the motion under administrative salaries. Says the motion to increase administrative salaries as stated on the agenda was never made. It's not necessary. Because it goes on to say that a motion was made to table indefinitely. We normally don't do negative comments in our minutes.
Well, I wasn't sure how to do that because you can't table a motion unless you make one.
Except there was no motion.
So you can't table it either.
So you're saying that that was an illegal move?
I'm not saying that, you are.
That's what I'm asking.
I don't know.
I think that was.
We just try to report what happened.
When Sherry with Jody tried to decipher through the minutes, I was having trouble too, and I'd emailed both Dave and Roger to try to clarify, and I don't think we ever did get much clarification. So I think Jody worded it like this because she writes these motions out for us, and to table a motion that was never made, that is kind of difficult. So I guess I can word this however the board agrees to word it, but I think it's accurate as to what happened. I think it's accurate, but I can word it differently if the board would like me to. That's for sure.
It just seemed a little awkward to me.
I guess that's the way it's happened, so it should be stated that way in the minutes.
What was your question again, Sherry?
I just wanted to strike the sentence that the motion to increase administrative salaries as stated on the agenda was never made.
Nobody made that motion,
Right.
and it was listed on the agenda that way.
Yeah, but we've had other things on the agenda that we've taken no action on. That's never been listed.
I don't think we've ever had anything on the agenda that we haven't taken action on. Not on the action items.
Oh.
Not on the action items. Not to my knowledge, any.
Do you want to strike that out there, folks, or do you want to leave it in there?
Well, this is an action item, so there's been a motion and a second, so there would have to be a motion to amend.
Motion, yeah.
To amend, and followed by a second.
Okay, I will make the motion to amend the minutes by striking that sentence.
Okay.
And then we've got to vote.
Is there a second?
So guys, we're not in second.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, then stand as it is. So now I need a roll call.
Donovan?
Yes.
Showcroft?
Yes.
Flightline?
Yes.
None?
Yes.
Oshner, yes. Dillmeyer?
Yes.
Jacobson?
Yes.
Feinschmidt?
Yes.
Malloy?
Yes. So the motion that the board approve the minutes of August 15, 2011, the regular Board of Education meeting has been approved. Let's go on to B, financial reports. Need a motion that the board approve the financial reports as presented in your packets.
I'll move.
Moved by Dave, I need a second.
I'll second. Hopefully it's-
Randy, second. Any questions? Okay, let's go to roll call.
Oshner, yes. Feinschmidt?
Yes.
None?
Yes.
Showcroft?
Yes.
Dillmeyer?
Yes.
Donovan?
Yes.
Jacobson?
Yes.
Flightline?
Yes.
Malloy?
Yes. So the board approves the financial reports as presented. Next one's letter C, general fund claims. Need a motion that the board approve the general fund claims in the amount of $244,377.07.
Second.
Second by Jim.
Make a motion,
Any questions?
A lot of these are large in September. It's basically a lot of our supplies and stuff for the year we pay out of this budget year, so we defer billing till after September 1, so almost all of it is teacher supplies, student things, and whatever to start the year with.
Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Norville, who is J.J. Verniclaw? What do they do?
That's the boys' home.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the boys' home that we contract with for,
Okay, thank you.
it's the teaching group that comes out of Lincoln and teaches at the boys' home. That's basically what it is.
Any other questions? If not, roll call.
Lightline.
Yes.
Donovan.
Yes.
Oshner, yes. Shelkoff.
Yes.
Fillmore. Yes. Jacobson. Yes. Kleinschmidt. None.
Yes.
Lowell.
Yes. Motion has been approved. The board approved the general fund claims in the amount of $244,377.07.
Can I interject before we start on D here?
Yes.
I got a new letter today, and I put it in front of you from the county treasurer, where the amount for Black Hills, Nebraska gas, I think in your agenda it says $5,283.95. It's now $7,854.68. And it's a repayment, as there was a settlement between Black Hills and whatever, and what they'll do is just deduct this year from our taxes. We don't have to write them a check or anything, they just take that amount back out. So the amount did change
Okay.
from what I originally had.
Okay, so we are on D, repayment of tax overpayment. That the board approve the repayment of $7,854.68 to Black Hills, Nebraska Gas for overpayment of taxes. Need a motion?
So,
Need a second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Okay, roll call.
Fillmore. Yes. Oshner, yes. Shelkoff.
Yes.
Donovan.
yes.
Jacobson.
Yes.
Kleinschmidt.
Yes.
Lightline.
Yes.
None.
Yeah.
Lowell.
Yes. Been approved that the repayment of the tax overpayment, the board approved the repayment of $7,854.68 to Black Hills, Nebraska Gas for overpayment of taxes. Okay, we're on to E, Board of Education goals. That the board adopt the 2011-2012 Board of Education goals as presented. I need a motion.
So moved.
Mark? Second?
Second.
Jim? Questions, comments?
Can we go over these?
All right, we can go over the goals. The first one is E1, is the improve the team building for the board members, administration, and improve the communication. A, it states the Board of Education members will attend at least one professional development activity each year sponsored by the Nebraska Association of School Boards or equivalent. And then B is the superintendent will communicate at least 2 times each month with the Board of Education. Individual board members will communicate at least 1 time a month with the superintendent, either by email, phone call, written, or office visit. Questions on goal 1?
Is this going to be kind of like policy or similar to policy?
I think just goals that we can either renew every year or change every year or alter, whatever.
I don't know if this is a good time to talk about it, but 4 or 5 board members sent me, I think this kind of falls in line with one of them, was I know when I was a new board member, well, a couple other people, half the board was new, and so the superintendent would send us out a weekly newsletter of things that went on. And so, I guess nowadays it'd be easier because it'd be via email rather than hard copy. time just to, and I apologize, I haven't had time to organize this. I was thinking I could organize it into little 2 or 3 concise little things. It's been kind of a busy month for me, so I haven't had time to consolidate these. But would you like me just to give you input on what the input from the board members were? Is that appropriate? Is that?
Since it's board goals, I would think that board input would be good.
Okay, and, you know, like I say, this is just a thumbnail sketch, sort of disorganized, so, kind of looking, well, actually, let me decide. Issues to the staff, care issues, classified staff issues, or non-classified staff issues. For instance, somebody said, any resignations that week, any resignations, or any new certifications to celebrate that the staff has received. That seems to be kind of underlying tone is, what can we celebrate? What reasons do we have to celebrate achievements? Transportation issues, which would be like a fender bender, perhaps, that we just talked about. Any attorney phone calls that had to be made and maybe the subject, not to go into detail, but just say, the subject of that attorney phone call. Overtime by week, which I guess has really been covered already with that printout we received. Any parental issues that have reached the superintendent's office, that level, after the chain of command. As I say, I'm just repeating these from the emails that I received, so I didn't put them in any particular order. Potential staff changes, resignations, building grounds issues, like for instance, somebody said scoreboard issues, roof issues. Any school injuries? Was a student injured during that past week? Any letters from the public received that last week? Focus on achievement of our students. What do we have to focus on? Is to celebrate the achievement of any of our students. Upcoming events that we as a board could be at. Open house, cookies next door to the superintendent's office like tonight. Recognition week, somebody said we used to have a teacher recognition every year. We haven't had that for a while. Any training days, what the subjects were. Any training that the principals and superintendent go to, and the subjects, pretty much what they've learned in that training session. Any large bill, any clarification of unusually large bills that we see. Just a quick review of the week, of any upcoming events. That's pretty much it. As I say, I apologize, it's very disorganized. I wrote these down 3 weeks ago, and I just had time to look at it about an hour, 2 hours ago, so I apologize for that.
That is one thing, though, I learned in that session that I went to in York. Again, I went to like the new school board member ones, even though I don't really think I'm that new anymore. But they talked a lot about that too, is that the communication between, even between us as a board and the superintendent, and even some of the things that, because I was kind of surprised that the gal who was running it kind of agreed with people, but even stuff that it really doesn't have anything that deals with us that we have to make a vote on, but just little things, little snippets of information that can be passed, so that when you are out in the public and someone hits you up on something, you're not like, oh, I didn't know that happened. Just that kind of information is what they talked about. And at first I thought, oh, that's a big no-no. We're not supposed to know that stuff. But this Marcia said, no, it's not something that can hurt, if it's not going up to any kind of, a lawyer or anything to that effect. But she said, yeah, she says that open line of communication really helps with the board and the superintendent.
Any other comments? Any thoughts about adding stuff that was brought up by Roger?
I think some of those things ought to be.
It seems to these things are what Mr. Norwell really provides us with now, for the most part, I believe. And I thank you for that. I think the difference would be, it'd be on a weekly thing, instead of something that happened week 1 of the month, and then learning about it 4 weeks later, it would be just something that we learn. I guess kind of that CNN mentality, or Fox News mentality, excuse me. You know, we don't want the evening news, CBS anymore. We want something fast, fast, fast. Well, that's what technology does. I guess we're not satisfied with it. 4 weeks later, we want it now.
Well, according to the goal, if I communicate with you at least 2 times a month, and I would say I do probably 3 to 4 times a month, if you count the board packet, then I'm doing it about every week anyway.
And this would be kind of on a regular basis, I think. When Dennis and I were on the board, there was 3 of us on a 6-member board that came on new. I thought it was very, I don't know what Dennis thinks about it, but I thought it was very helpful every week to know that was coming every week to see. You just kind of felt part of the loop, you know, nothing really big or anything. And actually, I think it helped communication. That way, when we get information, you can't have the communication maybe without information. So we get the information, then there's more of the communication thing.
Well, like last week, or last month, I was surprised when we went to the website. I didn't realize that we were going to do it on the website and the email addresses were going to change. That was a surprise to me. That would have been nice to know.
Email change was a surprise to me too.
You got that in the letter.
But I don't think, Roger, there's a problem with any of that. The timing sometimes, it's not going to be immediate. I mean, a lot of times, like a student injury, I might not find out for a week.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Because principal's going to report that to me and whatever. Upcoming events, it's on the front page of our website every day, updated, the events for the week. You know, and so if I was sending you the upcoming events, all I'd do is look on our website and copy it off. So, but I don't think I have trouble with any of that. You know.
I think the email would be the most efficient way to do it. Because you're the less, least amount of work. I don't want to get any more mail.
I don't either. Email's fine.
Sometimes I have a document though, or
I really
something
think you've been doing a pretty good job.
that I have to send in the envelope, because I've had some of you've had trouble opening my stuff too. I think you had trouble, even Dennis, one time opening stuff. So that's the only thing bad. If we all use different types of computers and different kinds of software and different operating systems, sometimes that's a difficult. But if it's just a typed email sent out, everybody should be able to get that. It's just if I have an attachment or something, you know, that time sometimes I feel better about mailing it. You know, and then I'll also say that, you know.
I was just trying to save you and your secretary some time.
Yeah. I do think communication is important, and I think that you guys need to look back and think, how often do you communicate with me? I think that's important too. I like to think that I do it pretty regular, and I like to think that not all of you do it very regularly. So I hope it can work both ways. So, but I see nothing on Roger's list that bothers me. And again, if it's a student issue, I'm not always going to give you all the information you might want to have, because I think there's some privacy there. Same with parental issues. There's sometimes parents don't want, they want it just to be between the administrator and them, and not given to other people. So I think you got to be careful about some of that. So other than that, I don't see a problem.
So we're okay with one, and then like you said, put Roger.
Yeah, I think maybe the best thing would be change that line B to the superintendent will communicate each week or something like that. That would be fine with that.
Okay.
It might not always be a Friday, but it'll be weekly.
Okay. Any other questions, comments on goal 1? goal number
So,
2.
I'm sorry, what,
That's
so
fine.
the complete goal one that we're gonna be voting on, are we gonna vote on this then?
Yeah,
Just go with that entire goal one then?
okay. Nothing has changed except line in B, underneath the superintendent will communicate at least weekly each month with the Board of Education. And still in there is individual board members will communicate at least one time a month with the superintendent via email, phone calls, written memo, office visit.
Now, I understand goals is different than policy.
Correct.
So we're not locking future boards to this as policy. This
is just our goal.
This board's goal
For this goal.
for this year,
Yeah.
Yeah,
for this
for
year.
this year, okay, that's.
Could change, could change.
And, right, and that's right.
Nobody will arrest you if you don't meet the goal, I don't think.
I didn't want to say that.
You don't think?
Mine too, I would do it.
Okay.
There is a typo that you might want to correct. Individual board members, there's no apostrophe. Members is no apostrophe.
Anything else, folks? Okay, then we'll move on to goal number 2 that we're discussing is improve the capacity to meet the needs of our students. Letter A, the board and administration agree to keep the mission statement of the district in mind as decisions are made and policies are created. Do we want to go over these like A and then go on to B, or do you guys want me to read both of them, then we discuss both of them? Okay. B, the board and administration agree to review yearly student data and devote attention and resources to those areas that need improvement.
And really, we already do B anyway. The principals will go over that data at the November meeting, and I would hope that we already do A. So to me, it's just putting it down on paper and keeping it out of the forefront as a goal.
Okay. Goal number 3, create a financial plan for the district. A, identify possible future issues and community priorities. And then B, make a plan that addresses those issues and priorities. Questions or comments?
I hate to do this, but can we go back to goal 1?
Seriously?
Yes. I have one that I think we should add, and I
Okay.
meant to email Roger, but it was a hectic month, yeah. I think that each board member, or I'd like to see the goal, that each board member stops in each building and visit with Mr. Rose, Mr. Klein, and Ms. Rayburn once during the school year to see what's going on in their building. Just stop, say how you doing, and what's going on with the students. Because I haven't been to Jeremy's building for a little while, and now that I won't be seeing Mr. Rose as much since Tice isn't in school, I'll need to stop seeing him. Well, yeah, I was with the high school, I never went to the other two.
I like it.
I meant to email you.
Just recommend to call ahead or
Yeah.
let them know you're coming in case they're out of the building or whatever. But
Just something so we know what's new in each building and what's happening with the
Can't
students.
just not like.
Yeah, but
you can, but you don't want to drive big miles and them not be there if you're driving up to Fillmore.
he's down here in
Every
administration
week to
meeting.
pick them up after football practice.
Just word that correctly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, that's what,
I think there's one more that's pretty important we need to add. It's goal 1, if we're going to improve team building. We can agree to disagree. Just because somebody has a question doesn't mean it is confrontational.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, huh?
Since we're still on 1, if there's something, I appreciate Mr. Norvell's willingness to do this, I think that'd be very helpful. If there's something on there that looking back, oh gee, I wish we could get this information. Is it gonna be difficult to add something? Can we just talk to Sean, as president, and ask him to, put that on there? We don't have to go through this whole rigmarole, do we? Like, we want to add something.
Probably just email Mr. Norvell and tell him to start adding that.
That'll take care of the
Yeah.
other part, then, too.
Say that.
You gotta take us up each one. But that'll help to keep,
Yeah.
the idea is to get the line of communication
Yeah.
back and forth both ways.
Okay, what I've got is each individual board member will do a site visit at least annually at each school, in parentheses, elementary, middle school, and high school. Please call ahead if all possible. Okay, and then we agree to disagree, was the last one.
It's about as simple as it can get.
ABC and IEP. Now we're gonna go back down to number 3. Is there anything on number 3 that's changed in that one? Okay. Well then, let's move on with this, folks, and need to do a motion that the board adopt the 2011-2012 Board of Education goals as presented.
Take the live line is done.
Oh. So, I'm sorry.
This was the discussion.
This is the discussion part.
Yep.
So now we need a roll call, please,
So it could be as amended, though, right?
as amended. Yeah.
Flightline,
Yes.
Donovan,
Yes.
Billmeyer,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Kleinschmidt,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ochsner, yes, Chilcoff,
Yes.
Middleby.
Yes. The board has approved that we adopt the 2011-2012 Board of Education goals as presented and amended. Okay, let's move on to F. Approve the 2011-2012 budget. Need a motion that the board approve the 2011-2012 general fund budget in the amount of $8,070,000 plus a necessary cash reserve of $1.4 million, special building fund in the amount of $555,000, depreciation fund budget in the amount of $137,000, employee benefit fund budget in the amount of $200,000, and qualified purpose undertaking fund budget in the amount of $225,000, school lunch fund budget in the amount of $350,000, activity fund budget in the amount of $600,000, and the student fee fund budget in the amount of $16,000. Need a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Dave, did you second? Okay. Questions? Comments?
What's different from last year, the $1,400,000 cash reserve? Is it the $500,000 that's different from last year? Is it?
Yeah.
Or is it last year?
Well, when we amended it, or a year ago, what are you talking about?
Yeah, last year.
A year ago, our cash reserve was 1.84, and our budget was 7.4 from a year ago.
So we're decreasing our cash reserve?
No, we've increased our cash reserve to 1.9 million. We're just showing 500,000 of it in the regular budget.
Okay, I guess that's the part that I'm confused about.
Okay.
Because last year we moved that million over.
Instead of doing $1 million,
In the middle
we're
of
doing
the year.
500,000 in June.
So this year we're just gonna put the 5.
I don't have a math background either.
No, I'm just reminding, just how we do it though. So now we're just doing it ahead of time instead of.
Right, instead of amending during the middle of the year.
Thank you.
So our cash reserve really is 1.9 million, we're just showing 500,000 in the regular budget.
Okay. Any other questions? Let's go to roll call, please.
Lightline.
Yes.
Oshner, yes. Donovan? Yes. Jacobson? Yes. Kleinschmidt?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Shelkoff?
Yes.
Delmeyer?
Yes.
Lilly?
Yes. The board approves the, and I'm not going through all the numbers again, the board approves the 2011-2012 general fund budget.
I agree.
It's a mouthful. Okay, we are now on to G, which is the 2011-2012 tax request, that the board approved the number 1 tax request for Fillmore County School District number 25 general fund should be and hereby is set at $5,289,207.02 for the 2011-2012 school fiscal year. Number 2, the tax request for the district special building fund should be and hereby is set at $243,181.92 for the 2011-2012 school fiscal year. Number 3, the tax request for the qualified capital purpose undertaking fund should be and hereby is set for $133,750.50 for the 2011-2012 school fiscal year. Questions, comments?
I'll move.
Motion, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead of myself. Jim, second. Sherry? Questions or comments? If not, let's go ahead and roll call.
Donovan?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Jacobson?
Yes.
Kleinschmidt?
Yes.
Lightline?
Yes.
Oshner, yes. Shelkoff?
Yes.
Delmeyer?
Yes.
Lilly?
Yes. So the motion has been passed for the 2011-2012 tax request. Let's go on to H, authorized representative. Motion that the board approve Mr. Mark Norvell as the Fillmore Central Public Schools authorized representative to receive and disperse federal funds and to approve the inter-fund transfers. Need a motion?
So,
Dennis, second?
second.
Jim? Questions, comments?
Is this something we do every year? Okay. It just has to be on the agenda.
For Title I, for us to get Title I money,
Yeah, but that's-
pay it, we'd have to designate someone to
But
be.
it has to, it's something we
signed
have
on.
to do every budget year. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Not, roll call?
Delmeyer?
Yes.
Donovan?
Yes.
Kleinschmidt?
Yes.
Lightline?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Oshner, yes. Shelkoff?
Yes.
Jacobson? Yes. Lilly?
Yes. Okay, the board approved the authorized representative, Mr. Mark Norvell. We are on number 8, discussion items, which may require executive session. We'll start off with A, review and discuss proposed board policy number 5100, student attendance.
I think I put a copy, the principals worked on it and finalized a copy, so I'll let them answer any questions you might have on that. As soon as we get the documents where we want it, we'll have it on the action items to adopt. So principals are here to answer any questions you might have.
This is basically what you talked about last month, right, with the revisions that you wanted to make?
So, are there any questions, folks? I think it looked good. I tied into where the state's going with a lot of that too. Okay, then we'll put it on the agenda for next month.
Okay?
Okay? That was easy. Review and discuss the 2011 NISA math and reading results.
So I'll take one and pass one. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this. I think I sent the NISA results home to you. And so this top sheet is a copy of something you already got. And we did very well, extremely well. Again, it's 1 year, so I don't think you make tremendous celebrations. We look at data over time, over a 4 or 5 year period, and so 1 year is just a snapshot. But we scored extremely well. We're above the state average everywhere. In some particular cases, we're close to 20 points above, 20 percentage points above the state average. And so what I wanted to go through on the next 2 pages is one of the reasons I think why we do well, and to compliment our staff and our principals. The first document is a sample out of our math curriculum. And we have curriculum documents for every subject that we teach. And this one is just an 8th grade, I believe it is, pre-algebra curriculum. And if you notice, we have stated objectives all the way through that math curriculum. And at the end of that are numbers, like the first one is the learner will describe number sets, and it's listed as 8.11 and 8.12. Well, those numbers at the end match the standards that the Department of Ed sets, and that's the 3rd sheet that you have, the one in the yellow. That's a sample. This is just one of probably, I don't know how many pages the state standards are, way too many to print off for the board to have, but I just think it's something that our principals have done and our staff knows. And then when our staff, when they teach a standard, they'll a lot of times mark it on their lesson plans or document it for the principals on a form to show that they have taught that standard that day to that particular groups of kids. And so, you know, we have lots of checks and balances to show that we cover the curriculum, we base our curriculum on the standards, and we go beyond the standards, of course, but we base it on there. And it just shows, I think, a great effort that our staff and our principals have done. And this is our year to review our math curriculum. So our math teachers will go through and they'll make sure that, number one, that the standards are numbered right throughout our curriculum document and things like that. So, you know, it's just great work by good people. And it's an insight that maybe you weren't aware of before, and maybe you were aware of it, but I think, you know, they need to be complimented on what they do. There was probably a day in time where, you know, principals hired a teacher and threw a book at them, and they went to the room and shut the door, and you never saw them for 180 days. Well, you know, we don't operate that way, and we have a curriculum that we expect our teachers to teach, and that curriculum is based upon the standards, and they're marked on the standards, and so we know what's going on in the classroom, and we know what should be taught. And then when our students perform well on a NISA test, then we've accomplished, you know, some great things. So I'll answer any questions that you might have on our NISA math and reading. And we're happy with the results. Keep in mind that we set a higher goal than just beating the state standards. We want to score it at 80%. Meeting or exceeding in every classroom, and we're not doing that yet, so we're a little short of our own goal, but we certainly did extremely well. And in some cases, the difference between our percentage and 80% is maybe one student or 2 students. So if we can make 1 or 2 students better, we're going to make that 80% easily. You know, you look at our 11th grade and how they've done, and they're a little bit lower in the math. Keep in mind that there was 11th graders at the boys' home tested also, and not to be prejudicial, but they don't normally help our scores. They're not subject to the same rigorous standards that we have in here. You know, it's a little bit different out there, so they do hurt our scores too.
Mark, on these tests, if you have the same students and you test them on the same test a couple weeks apart, how much are the grades going to vary? Are they going to be pretty close to the same?
I don't know that I could answer that.
Or is it?
There's our academic lead that, but
Not sure I understand the question.
Same student, same test, a couple weeks apart?
If they took the test several times, how close together would the scores be? Is that?
Yeah.
I think they'd be fairly close together. These tests have been validity and reliability tested for 2 years before they're even given to the entire state, so they're reliable.
we do ours online. I think everybody in the state now does. We will cover these, and each building principal will cover these a little bit better in November. We'll cover all our data. This is just one piece, keep in mind, one piece in 1 year, one snapshot, if you will. We'll cover a lot more data for you in November before the State of the Schools report is released, or after it's released. And we'll go over some, achievement test scoring and our ACTs and Explore tests and some of the other things we do. But certainly we're pretty happy with this. And again, I think it comes from hard work by our staff and our principals, and they've done a great job with it.
Who's the head of the curriculum committee? Which one is it?
Right now, it's a shared effort this year until we figure out exactly what we want to do. So we're doing it as a team, the four of us at this point in time.
Other questions? Move on to C, checklist for board policies 1600 through 1735, and they can be turned in at this time. We'll review the ones in October, all the 1000 series and policies that have been checked for further review.
I apologize, I didn't have the checklist in your packet, but I set it there today.
I'll just turn it in, Vlad.
But,
Supposed to do that?
that's fine. So what we'll do is, what I'll do now is I'll go back and everyone, and I've kept a compiled list, anyone that got checked, I will print off a copy again of those that we want to review for the second time and possibly alter, and I'll send that back to all of you before the next board meeting so you know which ones that people identified, and then hopefully if you checked one you can remember what you wanted to change in it, because we didn't write any of that stuff down yet. So and we'll start taking a look and get the 1000s done hopefully in a couple months, and go through whatever changes we want.
Okay. Sure. All right. Let's go on to then D, review and discuss change in board calendar.
That's my item. Normally with our board calendar, what we do is we do my evaluation in December. And I guess I would like to suggest to the board that we have that next month in October, last on the agenda. And that would give you guys time to go into executive session, and I'll excuse myself from the meeting, and you can talk freely and do an evaluation of me on one form, one evaluation, and then when the meeting's over, you go home, and then we'll meet in November, have it on discussion again, and then I'll sit down with you and you can go over the evaluation. I think the way we've done it in the past has not been very helpful to me. Everybody sends one in, Jody compiles it and gives it a rating. My ratings have always been pretty high, but the comments on the same item, one person will say, Mark does great at this. The next person will say, Mark really needs to improve in this area. Well, how is that helpful to me? I mean, the object of an evaluation is to, number one, assess my performance or whoever's performance, and then number two, set goals for improving. And I don't think our evaluation has been doing that. So, plus I need to know what support I have here at the board, because I need to make plans for my future also. And I don't want to wait till December to get an evaluation that says you're great and you're terrible. I want the board to sit down, have some free time to discuss and make an evaluation, and then in November we'll go over it. So you don't have to do that. That's my suggestion to you, and I would list it last on discussion items. You can go in executive session legally. Legally, I'm supposed to be there, but I can excuse myself, and then you've got some time to talk as a group, and I think that's what you need, and I think that's what I want. So, and then in November we'll have it on again as a discussion item at the end, and then you can take time to go over it with me then. So that would be my proposal to you, and I guess you can let me know how you feel about it, but I think it would work good.
Questions or comments right now?
I think it sounds wonderful.
Will you send it home ahead of time so we can have it filled out and our comments on there before we
Sure.
get here? Or?
I can do that.
Might be a good idea to read through the questions and then we can
Sure.
discuss them as a group.
So send a blank one out this month to you?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking. I haven't, other than the ones.
And this will be completely different than what we did before.
Well, kind of, but what you've done before is you've all mailed 9 separate ones into Jody, and I don't look at the individual ones. She compiles them, and she puts a rating, but then she lists every comment. Well, again, the comments are so wide-ranging, and there's never any steps for improvement. I mean, there's never, because there's such a wide range. Somebody says you're great at this, somebody says you need to improve at this. Well, which one is it? Or is it somewhere in between? So I think if you sit down together.
School then that you know of? Or
What's that?
You're gonna use a form that another school uses?
I'm just gonna use the same form you've been using.
Oh, the same form.
I'm just hoping you can fill out one.
You kind of want a consensus. You want a consensus.
Right.
Oh.
Fill out one form and have the same comments under there that, hey, you know, here's Mark, what we'd like to see you
It'll
do
be
in
the
this
same
area.
form we've been.
Yeah, I think just
Okay.
the same form. I think the form's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Plus, it's already been adopted by the board, so
Sorry,
I
I
think
was
we have to use it.
I thought you were saying it.
I think it makes a lot of sense. So.
But it is a change in the board calendar, and you adopted the board calendar back in whatever month we normally do that. January, I think, is when we adopt the board calendar. So I don't think it matters as long as there's consensus that we can do it that way. But I just wanted to throw that out. I think it'd be helpful to me. I think you need some time alone to talk also. I think that's important, and that's a legal way to do it. So.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lavelle. Next one is the one I guess I'm kind of looking at already is E, next board meeting. It's scheduled for Monday, October 10th. There is quite a few conflicts again here.
Yeah, I guess I'll make a suggestion to you. We can do it, I think, either one of 2 ways. There's JV football, but it's at home. It starts at 6:30. I think they're normally done around 8:15. You know, we could have an 8:30 start, a later meeting. That would also give any farmers a chance to work a little longer in the field. Or we could do like we did this and go that Wednesday at 5:30. We do have state softball that day, but first games are at 10. So, I mean, I would suggest either one. I mean, I can make either one work. I certainly like to go to my son's football game, so I'd like not to start at 7:30 if we could, but I think either one would work.
I like the 8:30.
I think so too.
Sounds good.
Dennis won't have to come in twice from the field.
8:30. It's a little bit late, but it's not bad. I mean, keep it as brief as we can, so we're not
We'll go
home
to
at
that
midnight.
exact for a couple hours.
8:30 coffee.
That's fine.
Bring some caffeine.
Okay. So our next board meeting is scheduled for Monday, October 10th, 2011 at 8:30 p.m. Okay, last one.
I have a question. I should have asked it earlier. Mr. Lavelle, we had talked a couple months ago about the Blue Cross Blue Shield holiday. What did happen with that? What have you decided? What's going on?
Well, Sean and the board team met with Steve, the negotiator, and I think they worked out a possible solution. I haven't had the time this week to go through it with Steve and type it up, but I'll get it sent out. It still has to be voted upon by the FCEA teachers, and it has to be voted upon by the board. So we'll have it on the October action items, and I'll let you know what it is, but I just haven't worked out the actual details of
Okay,
it.
well, we just
roughly, so.
haven't heard anything. I wanted to know.
I think they just met when.
Yeah, it's just Dave and I. Roger was not able to attend, and then we met with Steve, so.
That report you gave us, what the other schools are doing, I mean, they're all over the board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's widespread, wide-ranging, so.
Have there been any more schools settled after you sent us?
I haven't checked with them, and they didn't send me if they have settled, but compromise, I think right now has been worked out, and both groups will have to vote on it. And I just haven't had time to sit down with Steve and go through it and pencil it all out. But I'll make sure that I get it. I'll get it back to Dave and Sean first, just to make sure that's what the agreement was, and then I'll get it back to everybody else.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
So now we have is our adjournment. We need to, that this regular meeting of September 14th, 2011 be adjourned at, I've got 6:44 p.m. Need a motion?
So moved.
Jana, second?
Second.
Mark? Questions, comments, roll call.
Chilcox?
Yes.
Livewine?
Yes.
Nunn?
Yes.
Oxner, yes. Gilmore? Donovan? Yes. Jacobson?
Yes.
Kleinschmidt? Yes. Noble?
Yes. Been moved that this regular meeting of September 14th, 2011 be adjourned at 6:44 p.m. Thank you, folks. Thank you for coming in on Wednesday.
I don't know why.